What up, though? I'm back with another video. Talk a little bit more about my experience, my route, the way I came up. A little bit different than where everybody else came up.
Don't hate.
With this hockey thing here, right? King of Detroit hockey, Phil Adams, back at you again. Man, that's a hood club, don't judge me. Anyway, so what I may pick up at is I'm on my way to North Dakota after all of that crazy stuff happening in Detroit. Cousins getting locked up, people getting shot at parties and all of that before I get to school. My freshman year to start. So that summer was the first summer that I actually trained. Up until that point, I never lifted weights before. I used to do a lot of push-ups and pull-ups. I had a pull-up bar in between my door in my bedroom. My brother and I used to do a lot of pull-ups, sit-ups. But honestly, a lot of it was probably just genetics, DNA. My dad was an athlete, my uncles. So a lot of it came natural, I think. But that's what I'd done up to that point. I never trained before, never lifted weights before. So one of my good friends, I want to give a shout out to Jason Knobloch, his mother, Mrs. Knobloch, terrific people, amazing people. Mrs. Knobloch, God bless her soul. She makes the most amazing spaghetti pie. I'm drooling thinking about it. It was so good. Oh my gosh, she was such an amazing cook. But my boy, Jason Knobloch, who played with me in the Michigan Nationals, and that summer, I don't know how we ended up getting together, but we did. And Jason was the one that actually showed me exactly how to train. Jason is the one that showed me how to lift weights properly, the right way. And that summer we trained all summer. We ran because in North Dakota there was a series of tests, physical tests that had to be taken. There was a 3-mile run under 21 minutes. There was a mile run under 6 minutes. There was a 10K. There was swimming events. There was multiple. I mean, it was a whole bunch of stuff. But those are the main things: a mile under 6 minutes, the 3-mile under 21 minutes, and the 10K. And that didn't really have a time limit, but it was expected to do well.
Congratulations.
So that's what I'm training for in the summer. So Jason, God bless Jason. He was a straight G. He came to my house in Romulus, Detroit. It was about a half an hour every morning. Knobloch would be at my house every morning at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and we'd be leaving to go down to Belle Isle, down the street from my house, and we would run at Belle Isle. Then we'd come back to my house, I don't know, grab some Gatorade or whatever, and then we would shoot out to his house, and that's where the powerhouse was that we worked out at. And Jason and I used to train 5 days a week, all the time. Jason Knobloch was an absolutely great guy. And one of the craziest people I've ever met, but also one of the most genuine guys you ever meet. Jason will give you the clothes off his back. He's an amazing person, and so is his mom. But I'm telling you, that kid did not like his father for whatever reason it was, man. Every dad worked for Free Press, man. Every time we were driving together, because we trained a lot, so we're together these 5 days a week for the whole summer, right? So we're hanging out a lot, and then we hang out on the weekends together too. So every time he would see a Free Press truck, because his dad worked for Free Press, is that the old man? Is that the old man? I'm gonna kill him. Every time we saw Free Press truck, that was his response. I'm not kidding. Anyway, thank God we never ran into him. But that's just a small thing about Jason. He was just great guy, good hockey player, real good hockey player. Funny thing is, he ended up walking on in North Dakota. He got kicked out right away, but he made the team as well. Not even for a walk on. So we're training in the summer, and then we get into leaving to go to North Dakota. So I go down with my parents. We get to the dorms, and I was absolutely disappointed. I was expecting more of a hotel situation. It was actually awful. Especially in North Dakota. So I don't know, I was expecting more. It was really, really bad. But anyway, to me. So I get with my roommate, who's Nick Domingo. Nick and I played together the year before in Dubuque. He came in, I think, around a trade deadline. Good offensive player, but you're talking about an annoying person and an insecure person and someone who could drive you up the wall. I wanted to kill Nick most of the time, but it wouldn't have been very hard to do. He wasn't tough at all, but he was just so insecure and annoying. So he ends up being my roommate. I'm not sure how that happened, but we ended up being roommates. So anyway, I'm super excited about joining the team. And, you know, I'm super excited about being there, but I got this roommate, Domingo, who's constantly reminding me he was a 7th round pick from St. Louis Blues. I still remember it to this day because he would never stop talking about this shit. And it only took me when I left North Dakota to realize that that's such a bad round to get picked in. You'd rather not go at all and go as a free agent because in the 7th round you're not going to make any money. But Nick thought he was the king of all kings, being a 7th round pick to St. Louis and coming in North Dakota, he was going to be a starter. It was really annoying. I mean, I wish the best for everybody that I played with, but this guy, man, I mean, it was just really, really difficult to deal with his ego on a day-to-day. He just could never be sincere or humble, ever. So anyway, we go to our first team party just to speed up a little bit. And I'm not familiar with many of those guys. I mean, I remember going on a visit, but I don't remember everybody that I met when I was on the visit, right? So we're going in, and again, maybe it's my arrogance because I didn't do a lot of homework on who my teammates were going to be. I really didn't. I didn't when I went to Dubuque either, so I just thought, you know, everybody would be like it was the year before. So I get there, we go to this party, team party, and I walk in. I haven't met most of these guys like formally, like since, you know, whenever I was down for the visit. Scott Curtin, you gotta love him. Scott Curtin says, "Hey, it's a nigger." I didn't know how to take that. I just met this guy. I don't know who he is. I don't know most of these guys, but they're laughing. This is my first time, you know, meeting these guys under these circumstances, being a part of the team and all that. It's a hell of a welcome. So, anyway, the year goes on. I played the first series against Minnesota. I think things are going to start out pretty good. It's a TV game. I did pretty well. Played pretty well against Minnesota. I can't remember if we split with them or we won both. I can't remember, but we started out pretty good. So, I started to struggle a little bit with the college game because I was coming from two-line pass. And I was thinking of defending most of the time with the two-line pass. When I played in junior, it was two-line pass, but in college, it was no red line. But in pro, it was two-line pass when I played. So I'm modeling everything off of the two-line pass. When I get to college, there's no red line. I had trouble defending. I struggled with it. That's the truth. So when I started to struggle, I thought Gino would work with me a little bit, seeing I'm a full scholarship guy and all that thing. You know, he'd give me a minute to kind of work things out, which would have happened. But instead, I started getting benched and then healthy scratch. And that started to really mess with me. And then on top of that going wrong, Christmas is coming up, our grades are coming out. I go ineligible. I got a 1.8. I failed a psychology class and I should have dropped. I didn't. Just young and didn't make the right decisions, and that was basically what happened. I could have dropped it. Gino was really adamant about telling me like if I would have told him that I had enough time, we could have worked it out and I wouldn't have went eligible because it really hurt me not playing that second half of the year. And but it allowed me to focus on my studies. I came in with a 3.7 the next semester. I mean, it doesn't mean anything to me though because you get a 3.7 but you don't play. So that was really tough to take to the ego. So anyway, the year ends And we have our end of the year meetings with Gino, Gasparini, the head coach, and he's giving me his opinion about what I should do over the summer. And one of the things he suggested that I do was go to Brainerd, Minnesota hockey camps. The great Chuck Grillo, former GM of San Jose Sharks. I didn't know anything about Brainerd. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what he was talking about. But he was my coach, and it was his advice. So being I was on a full ride, I told my parents what we had to do. They didn't mind doing it since they weren't paying any tuition. So anyway, I go to Brainerd. Now I had some notes for this, but now I'm only at, I thought I'd be going past this, but I'm not. So anyway, the season ends, I go to Brainerd towards the end of the summer. Oh, and that's the year I bought a truck, because everybody had trucks at North Dakota, so I felt like I had to fit in. I got my dad to get me a Dodge Ram, and that did not go over well with my mom. But anyway, I got a big Dodge Ram. It was an 87 Dodge Ram. It was clean, but it was funny because it had it was more of a hillbilly truck. I'm from the city. I look funny driving it. People laughed at me before driving it. But at any rate, I get this big Dodge Ram. I go back. I go up to Brainerd, pack my stuff up. Then I'm going from Brainerd. Then I'm going to school in North Dakota to start the year. So I get up to Brainerd, and I'm not knowing what to expect. However, every San Jose pick, I think, was there for that camp, a part of the camp that I was there. There were some tremendous players there. Ray Whitney, who played with San Jose Sharks, he was there. Pat Falloon played with San Jose Sharks, he was there. Reggie Savage, who played with, I think, the Montreal Canadiens, he was there. JP Bergeron, the head coach of Miami of Ohio right now, he was there. Eustace King, my buddy you hear me talk about, he was there. There were so many good players at that camp. It was absolutely crazy. That Coleman guy, I don't know if people remember him. He was a tough guy in San Jose. I think he got killed in a car accident. He was super tough and super strong, and he was there. And so we did, like pretty much like a kind of like a training camp. It was. We would basically skate in the morning, be more like drills and that kind of thing, and then like we come back, eat. And then we have dry land, and that shit was hard as hell. Oh man, it was really tough. That was when I learned to do the 30-20-10s. You walk for 30 seconds, jog for 20, you sprint for 10. But we did like 30 of them. So it sounds like 30 minutes, but you're sprinting and guys are competing. These are all the San Jose Shark picks. So everybody's working hard. People are trying to get contracts. I remember this one guy, he played D3A, I forget his name. But he was working his ass off, and he lapped me in that. And I was in pretty good shape, but he was in really good shape. God, if I remember his name, I'll bring it up again. But he ended up signing with San Jose. But at any rate, yeah, so that's what Brainerd was like. So I'm playing forward. So anyway, Brainerd was full of a lot of talent. It's all San Jose guys there. The former general manager of the San Jose Sharks, Chuck Grillo, ran the camp. So Brainerd was full of a lot of talent. So anyway, we would have these games in the evenings. It would be a part of a two-a-day. It was two-a-days every day, basically. Practice in the morning and some kind of scrimmage at night. Dry land in the middle. 4 weeks straight. So we play, and I'm playing forward, but I'm doing better. I'm doing okay at forward. I'm learning from these guys because there's some good forwards there. You could take a piece of what they were doing. And if you were able to adapt and put it in your game right away, it was to your benefit or to my benefit. So, we had this game, and there was this kid there. He worked at the camp. I don't remember where he played, but he was like a Division III guy. He has a few Division III guys there. Cohen Sardif, I think. That's that guy's name that ended up signing with San Jose. I think he came out of D3, but he was in unbelievable shape that summer. Cohen Sardif. Shout out to Cohen Sardif. Judgment come. But anyway, we have this game, and my dad comes to watch my mom. Spending $3 grand for this camp. They want to come up and see what's happening with it. So I'm playing forward, and it's this kid that I didn't like him. He worked there. I just didn't like the way he looked. You know, some people just rub you the wrong way. He rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like the guy. But I'm gonna tell you what a fighter do to help you respect the guy, because what happened is I scored in their scrimmage at night, and on him, he was covering me. I got loose and scored, and I didn't like him, so I just fucking started it with him. I didn't like him, so I just started it with him, and I got off right off the hop, and I was at the end of my shift, but still I was ready to go. I started to fight. I'm thinking he's a D3 guy. I played in the O a little bit. Well, no, I hadn't played in the O yet. My bad. I was playing the USHL. So, anyway, I get off on him right away, and then he like held on and basically let me run out of energy and beat the brakes off of me. I'm talking about closed both eyes, knocked one of my contacts out, knocked one of my teeth out. I got beat up bad by a college guy. It made me respect him a lot more after that, though. So I can't remember who that kid was, but if anybody does remember who he is and remember him kicking my tail, please leave a comment in the comment section. I'd love to remember what his name is and even give him a shout out, because he taught me a lesson. And that was a lesson of you respect everybody. You don't know who's tough. So everybody's tough until they show you they're either that tough or they're not. So you approach everybody like they're tough, and don't take anybody for granted. And I'll tell you, I learned that lesson with that kid for sure. So anyway, I get in real good shape, but we got a month delay before the season starts. By the time I get to school and by the time the hockey season starts, we're allowed to be on the ice and all that. So this year I come into camp, and I don't care about any of that testing shit or stuff, because it didn't matter. I was a freshman. He scared me with it. But the next year I didn't even make it under 6 minutes to do it a mile, and they didn't even make me do it again. I was in unbelievable shape anyway. I think I had 4% body fat. I remember the assistant coach, and he was a goalie. I think it was Scanlon. I can't remember if I'm saying his name wrong, but he was like, "Kill, you look great." I mean, you don't have to, because normally if you don't make it with under 6, you got to do it again until you do make it under 6. He told me I had to do it again, and that was just the end of it. And all the rest of that, I think I made a 3-mile one, but I mean, I just didn't care about that. I just wanted to play, show what I could do, because I had sat out. I sat out because I was ineligible. I was ready to get back. So, start the season again, I'm playing, and then I get into this thing where I struggled again against Minnesota to lose. I had a bad game. I remember that. And then the other thing about, I still hadn't scored at North Dakota. I got no points. So 10 games the first year, no points. And then I don't know how many games I played, maybe 4 or 5 the next year. And when he started benching me again, now let me go back. Let me tell you why he was benching me. Let me tell you why. This is important. So when I went ineligible, my attitude went down the toilet. I was very depressed. Didn't really want to talk to people. Very embarrassed going to games and having to go up to press box every day. It's embarrassing. I hated it. The next year when I came back after the ineligibility thing, we used to have to go to these morning workouts at like 6 o'clock in the morning at the arena. And I didn't feel like I needed to go to that since I wasn't getting the ice time I thought I should get. So I didn't go. Guys would say something to me about it, and I would basically tell them to F off and fight them if they wanted to fight. Because I was more like, I gotta play. I'm better than everybody here. On this D-Corps, can't nobody get with me, so I should be playing, and I'm not. I'm not doing nothing until I start getting some ice time. That was man, I still kind of feel like that. So we clashed. Looking back at it now, that's probably why he benched me, because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I didn't do that. I didn't do workouts after practice, before practice. I did what I wanted to do. And when I didn't play, I was in his office, wanted to talk to him. Why I'm not playing? What's going on? What do I need to do? Well, try going to what I told you to do, that everybody's mandatory for everybody in the team to do, and you're not going to it. F you, play me. Then I'll go and violate your program. So thinking back, I could have handled it differently, but I didn't. You got to learn to live with regrets. And what I decided to do was leave. That's it. I can't play here. This guy's racist. No, I did think he was racist, but he wasn't. Gino Gasparini was the furthest thing from racist you'll ever find. Gino Gasparini was anything but a racist. He was more of a pioneer. Gino Gasparini put the first black player in the history of North Dakota. Gino Gasparini did that. Shout out to Gino Gasparini, and I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. You were right, I was wrong. But I was young, and I was hot. But Gino Gasparini was a great coach. Gino Gasparini did something that was pioneering. Nobody had ever done it. And nobody's done it until this year, when I got the call from the kid going to North Dakota this year, who's Canadian and really half black. But Gino gave a full scholarship to Akil Adams from the inner city of Detroit, East Grand Boulevard and back, to one of the best universities, hockey-wise, in the country. That's what Gino Gasparini did. That's the truth about Gino Gasparini. He's a great man. He's a great coach. And what I did was purely because of my ego, and I was young. If I had to do it again, I would have done things a lot differently, and things probably would have ended up differently and worked out better for both of us. I'm sure if I would have bought in, I would have helped the team more. And maybe he could have found a way to communicate better, because he treated everybody like they were professional, not kids. I was 18, 19, brain not fully developed. Thought he could have gone about it another way, but playing in North Dakota was like playing in the NHL. You didn't really talk to you guys. There were guys that didn't play for 2-3 years and were draft picks. I can't remember which round, but Donnie Riando didn't play. He was a draft pick. I mean, I could just go on and on. It was always, everybody was drafted down there on a team besides me. So, this is the second year. Jason came and walked onto the team. I told you about Jason's work ethic. He's the one that taught me to work out. So, he was in great shape. He ran through all that stuff, made through all the testing, did it unbelievable, made the team. Jason is crazy. Anybody who knows Jason will tell you that he's crazy. And if they don't tell you he's crazy, they don't know. And Jason got himself into a predicament at school and got himself kicked off the team. And he absolutely deserved it. And he's absolutely crazy. But I love him to death. That's what made me love him. But he went too far. Got caught. That dems the brakes. Anyway, he's there. He's still going to the school, even though he's not on the team. He's there with me and Bearsy, Darren Bear. So he helps me with the phone calls to every team in the WHL, every team in the Quebec Major League, and every team in the Ontario Hockey League. We called every team. Not to mention I tried to call St. Cloud back to see if they would work with me. The guy freaked out on me. They were really pissed off because I kind of changed my mind on them at the last minute. But anyway, couldn't work out anything with St. Cloud. So We called everybody. Everybody told me no. Everybody. We said we get to Windsor. Guess who's the assistant coach of the Windsor Spitfires? Kevin McIntosh. Kevin McIntosh and I go back. I played AAA with the Michigan Nationals. I told you about that in the past videos. Kevin McIntosh used to coach Windsor Club 240, which is a AAA team in Windsor that we used to play periodically. He remembered me because I was a defenseman. As I told you in my previous videos, I was super offensive. He remembers how fast I was and how offensive I was and all that stuff, right? I get him on the phone. That was just by the grace of God. He's like, yeah, I remember you. Hey, Q. They're struggling at the time. I'm not doing this. But they do have the #1 overall pick, Eddie Jovanovski, right? He's on that team. I didn't know that at the time. I had no idea who was on the team, and I didn't even know who he was. So I talked to McIntosh, and it's like, when you guys going home? When are you on break? It's coming up. Christmas break. He's like, when you come back in town on this date, come over, put you through a trial. A lot of our guys are going home for Christmas, right? Because it's Christmas. So a lot of their guys are going home for Christmas, just like we were going home for Christmas. So I fly back. I go to the trial, or whatever it was, escape. Joe Banowski's there, and a bunch of guys from Leamington, their junior B team, were there. So I'm out there doing my thing. We finish it up. Escape, hour and a half. I meet Eddie, great guy, Ed Joe Banowski. Shout out to Eddie. Eddie was always a good guy. And at any rate, after practice, they offered me a contract. It's no big, it's only a shell contract, but still, I made the team. They're like, hey, we'll pay for your school, because we know you're in school, so you still want to take classes, they take care of it. Okay, no problem. And they gave me money for having to cross the border every day, because I was going to live in Detroit, because that's where I'm from, and I'm very close to the border, being that I grew up on East Grand Boulevard and back, right? So I could get to the arena in maybe 15, 20 minutes, providing that it was no traffic, from the border and stuff. It was really no big deal. So they gave me money so that I could get across back and forth every day. And so I had not a bad little package, right? So I was still going to school at Wayne State at the time, because when I left North Dakota, I had enrolled at Wayne State. I got around them OHL boys who wasn't even going to school. It was in high school. I was like, oh, this school thing ain't where it's at. You see, that's kind of where I made the mistake. I should have originally not gone to North Dakota. I think Peterborough had my rights some kind of way. I remember Peterborough talking to me and wanted me to come there. And I chose to go to Dubuque instead of Peterborough. So that would have been the year that I went to Peterborough instead of going to Dubuque. I would have been in Neo instead of in Dubuque, which I think things would have worked out better for me. I played better in that league. That two-line pass was better for me. I think it would have worked out better. But anyway, my parents had this whole thing about education and something to fall back on. And, I understand why they said it. I mean, you want to, to make sure your kids are safe and all of that. But that was really the wrong information. You should not be looking for anything else to do but what you're doing. And there's no fail in it. You don't need them to fall back on because there's no fail. So you don't need it. And even if you do, school is so simple that you can do that when you're done, wherever you need to pick up at. You need to be 100% focused on doing this one thing that's extremely difficult. And I think when I started doing that is when I got better, and that was in Windsor. So That was how my North Dakota experience went. Got a chance to play with the great Greg Johnson. R.I.P. Greg. Brad Bombardier. Landon Wilson. Oh yeah, and the great 7th round pick, Nick D'Amico. How could I forget him? God, he's North Dakota's finest. All these years, I still don't like him. Anyway, we'll get to the next video. We'll talk about going to Canada, baby. This is Grand Boulevard and Mac. Check your map. Akil Adams, King of Detroit hockey. Still hasn't been anybody that's done what I did. People have tried. But when you start to do the comparisons and you start to look at the levels of this game, because there's levels to this jack, and in all this time, nobody can even get to these levels that I was disappointed at. I went to North Dakota, I left. Most people would die just to even go to North Dakota. Most people would die to even get a full ride D1. North Dakota was not the only school that I could have went to. Full ride. 17 years old, 18 true freshmen. Akil Adams, baby.